What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video. Now today we are going to be taking a step back and taking a look at one particular player on the roster. You know, since the Jared Goff trade took place a couple months ago, since the Lions sent Matthew Stafford to Los Angeles and received quarterback Jared Goff, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of talk about what Jared Goff is for this offense. Is he a franchise quarterback? Is he the future and the franchise quarterback that will be here for many years down the road? Is he a bridge quarterback? Is he a guy that's going to be here for a year or two to kind of bridge the gap between Matthew Stafford and the next great young quarterback? Is he a placeholder? Is he a guy that's just here until the Lions find the right guy? Or is he going to be a mentor? Is he a guy that's going to be here for a long time but may not be the starter for a long time? A guy that is just brought in to kind of teach the young quarterback and be kind of a backup blanket, security blanket for the Detroit Lions in case the worst happens. Well, in today's video, I want to talk about it. In today's video, I want to talk about Jared Goff, go over what he's done in his NFL career, go over the accolades, go over really all his accomplishments throughout his NFL career so far, and really try to come to a conclusion of whether or not Jared Goff is or can be the next franchise quarterback for the Detroit Lions. Now, before we get into the video and before we start talking about Jared Goff and whether or not he is the next franchise quarterback, if you're new to the channel and you are enjoying the content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of you to do so. It's quick, it's free, and it's easy, and you to be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. So if you do that, take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into talking about Jared Goff, the potential future franchise quarterback.
So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, there's been a lot of speculation surrounding Jared Goff's current position with the Lions, right? Some people do view him as the next franchise quarterback, right? Some people do view him as that next quarterback that will be here for 5, 10, maybe even longer than that as far as years, and really be the guy to cement his starting place in Detroit and be here for a long period of time. Other people view Jared Goff as a placeholder, a stopgap quarterback, a guy that is going to bridge the gap between the Matthew Stafford era and maybe the Spencer Rattler era or the Sam Howell era, or maybe even a year down the line, a DJ Uiagalelei level or era. A lot of people view him as that, being just a placeholder, being a guy that is going to be here for a year or two until it is feasible to get his contract off the books, and then you move on to the next young quarterback. And some people, a smaller minority, in fact, a smaller minority maybe, but a small amount of people do view Jared Goff as a guy that can be a mentor for that young quarterback, be that security blanket and that long-time backup that is not really going to be the biggest name, isn't going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of playing time, is going to be the backup primarily, but that security blanket nonetheless, that if Spencer Rattler gets hurt, if DJ gets hurt, if, you know, your next franchise quarterback gets injured, Jared Goff is a guy that can step in and play at a high enough level where your offense can still be efficient. Well, today, that is what we are going to be talking about. Now, in recent events, recent things have come out of the Detroit Lions organization to kind of give a little bit more clarity on the situation, mostly and primarily from the quotes of new general manager Brad Holmes. Now, Brad Holmes recently in interviews and press conferences has said that Jared Goff is not a stopgap quarterback. He does not view Jared Goff as that bridge guy. He views Jared Goff as a player that can be here for a long time, a guy that's not only going to play out the rest of his contract now, but also get another contract extension from the Detroit Lions. And he's also mentioned that Jared Goff's leadership ability and his leadership qualities have grown far surpassed from where he saw him last time he was with the Los Angeles Rams and the last time the two sides were in the same franchise. Of course, Brad Holmes, coming from the Los Angeles Rams, has seen Jared Goff grow and develop over his NFL career, and he has said that in the short time he's been here in Detroit, Jared Goff's leadership ability and his leadership qualities have grown and surpassed far from where they were even as early as last season with the LA Rams. So from those comments, we kind of have an idea of where Brad Holmes wants Jared Goff to be. He wants Jared Goff to be here, and he wants Jared Goff to be the next franchise quarterback. But can he be? That's the big question that is on a lot of people's minds is, yeah, the front office likes him. Yeah, Jared Goff feels very confident here in Detroit, but is he talented enough, and is he good enough to be the franchise quarterback and be a player that takes the Detroit Lions to division championships and Super Bowl championships? That is the biggest question on everybody's mind. Well, in my opinion, yes, Jared Goff is a very, very talented quarterback. He does have the arm strength and the arm talent, the accuracy to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Now, you may not believe me, you may not agree with me, but it is true. Jared Goff, as far as talent-wise, from arm strength to accuracy to just arm talent and touch, and really everything from the physical aspect of the game that you are looking for in a franchise quarterback, Jared Goff possesses. He has the size, he has the weight, he has really everything, every measurable and everything from a physical standpoint and a physical category. Jared Goff holds that, Jared Goff has those physical traits to be and be placed in the top 10 quarterbacks of the NFL. Now, Jared Goff is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. That is not what I am saying, and that is not true. Jared Goff is not a top 10 quarterback. He's probably closer to 15, maybe at the worst on his bad days, the 20th best quarterback in the NFL because of some other things, because of some mental things, because of, post-snap recognition, stuff like that. But from a strict talent standpoint, Jared Goff is good enough to be put in the top 10 quarterbacks of the NFL. Jared Goff last year had a top 10 on-target accuracy rating, which means every time he threw the ball, meaning that when he threw the ball, he was a top 10 quarterback as far as accuracy in throwing catchable passes, and that is while he had the 6th lowest time in the pocket. He had a time of, I believe, just 2.4 seconds from snap to throw, and that was tied for the 6th lowest in the NFL. So having the 6th lowest time to throw in the NFL while having a top 10 on target and top 10 accuracy percentage as far as throwing, that shows you right there that Jared Goff can be a really, really good quarterback. That shows you right there that Jared Goff is an accurate quarterback, that he can deliver very catchable balls, and that regardless of what some people may think, he is a really good strong arm, is a really good accurate quarterback that can definitely carry teams and definitely can be a player that you can rely on to win you football games. Now, some people are going to argue that Jared Goff is coming off a down season, right? Didn't have 4,000 yards passing, I believe was at 20 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, which admittedly is not a fantastic season by Jared Goff, especially coming off, I believe, 3 back-to-back 4,000 plus yard seasons. Not quite hitting that 4,000 mark is a little bit of a disappointment, and the touchdown to interception ratio is definitely something that needs to be improved upon. However, I don't think Jared Goff's statistical down year a season ago, if you want to call it that, is 100% on him. Jared Goff last year had the highest completion percentage of his career, had the highest completion percentage ever for himself, right? I believe it was at 67.5 or something around there, which was the highest completion percentage in his entire career. Now, not to mention that Jared Goff, as far as intended air yards, and Jared Goff in the offense was severely limited a season ago. His intended air yards in 2020, meaning how far he meant to throw it or how far he was trying to throw it in the air per pass attempt, was over 1.5 yards lesser than it was in 2019. He was at his yards per attempt, his intended air yards was over 1.5 yards less than it was in 2019. So he was throwing far less in the air and really not being as big of a factor in the offense as he was in 2019, 2018, and beyond. And when it comes to completed air yards, he was over 600 yards less than he was in 2019, while only throwing 24 less passes, or only having 24 less completions than he did in 2019. Sean McVay very much disliked Jared Goff. Sean McVay tried to phase his own quarterback out of the offense as much as possible, and Jared Goff statistically struggled for that. He threw more interceptions, he threw less touchdown passes, and of course threw for less yards. But that is what is happening. That is what's going to happen when your play caller, when your head coach, and when your offensive mastermind is going to phase the quarterback out of the offense. He's not going to put up the statistical numbers he did years prior. He's not going to look as good as he did years prior. When Jared Goff throws for on average 1.5 yards less in the air for each and every pass attempt than he did 2 years ago, that is why Jared Goff statistically wasn't very good. When Jared Goff is completing when Jared Goff is completing 600 less yards through the air than he did in 2019 with just 24 less passes or 24 less completions, that is a big problem on the scheme, and that is more on Sean McVay scheming the plays away from Jared Goff than that credit is actually on Jared Goff's ability to throw the ball down the field. Because throughout his career, we've seen Jared Goff deliver some good throws down the field. During his career, throughout his career, we've seen Jared Goff make some very good, very accurate throws and make some throws that absolutely wow and, make some throws that very few quarterbacks in the NFL can actually make. We've seen him throw tight windows. We've seen him throw deep down the field. We've seen him throw with accuracy and into tight windows. And we've seen Jared Goff make some of the most difficult throws the NFL has to offer. But when your head coach and your play caller doesn't give you an opportunity, and when your play caller takes the ball out of your hands as much as humanly possible, that's going to hurt Jared Goff statistically. That's going to hurt Jared Goff from a confidence standpoint. That's going to hurt him from a statistical standpoint. And it's not going to allow Jared Goff to really get in the same groove that maybe he was in 2019 or 2018. Sean McVay, I think, hurt Jared Goff last year more than he helped Jared Goff. And that's why a lot of people view Jared Goff as not a very good quarterback anymore. Even though in 2018, Jared Goff early in the season was looked at as a potential 5,000-yard passer and a guy that potentially could be in the MVP conversation. Another thing about Jared Goff is he has an incredible quarterback record. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Quarterback record to me doesn't necessarily matter about what happened in the past. But in Jared Goff's case, he has proven that he can win football games. Jared Goff's career record is 42-27, having just one losing season in his 6-year NFL career. And that one losing season was when he went 0-7 in his rookie year under Jeff Fisher. So that doesn't even really count for Jared Goff, right? Outside of that first year under a horrible head coach and under horrible management and under horrible mismanagement, I should say, Jared Goff is 42-20 in NFL games. He's 42-20 as an NFL starter, not including the postseason where he has a pretty decent record there as well. So when you look at Jared Goff, right? Jared Goff is a winner. He is accurate. He played through adversity last season. He played through injury. He played through his own offensive coordinator and head coach not giving him and not having enough confidence in him to win them football games. Jared Goff has fought through a lot as a quarterback, and Jared Goff, I think, over his years has proven over and over and over again that he can be the franchise quarterback. Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? He's not. Is Jared Goff a top 10 quarterback right now? He is not, but he has the potential to be. He has the talent to be a top 10 quarterback, and now in Detroit, he's developing more leadership skills. He's impressing the coaches early. The coaches love him. The coaches say that they are so happy with Jared Goff's progression so far and so happy with where he is at. Jared Goff says that he loves the confidence that the coaches are giving him and loves the confidence that the coaches have in him. The coaches are inspiring him to play better and just giving him that more comfortable feeling, I guess you should say. He's feeling more comfortable in this offense and he is being empowered by this coaching staff having the confidence in him. So Jared Goff's confidence is going to be better next year. He's going to be relied upon maybe more next year and being given an opportunity to play in bigger moments and be part of those big moments more than he was a season ago. This coaching staff actually has faith in Jared Goff for the first time in his NFL career, really. And Jared Goff in a new situation with different coaches, getting coaches that believe in him, I think is going to be a big part of why Jared Goff proves a lot of people wrong and why Jared Goff can make the case to be the franchise's next big quarterback. Jared Goff has not taken a snap yet for the Detroit Lions in a live game. He's not even taken a snap in the preseason yet for the Detroit Lions. So to say Jared Goff is the 100% for sure franchise quarterback would be ridiculous to say. But to say Jared Goff has the possibility of being the next franchise quarterback is not very far-fetched. To say that Jared Goff may be the next franchise quarterback is not far from reality. Can Jared Goff be the next franchise quarterback? He absolutely can. Does Jared Goff have the talent to be a franchise quarterback? He absolutely does. He's 26. He has a top 10 arm in the NFL, arguably definitely closer to 10 than 15. He has all of the talent in the world, and with a coaching staff that truly supports him, you could see Jared Goff take a massive stride, similarly to what we saw between Jeff Fisher and Sean McVay from 2016 to 2017. But with all that being said, that is live for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know, of course, what do you think about Jared Goff? Do you think he is the franchise quarterback, or do you think he's a placeholder and a stopgap quarterback for the next guy? Let me know that down in the comments below. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think. But with all that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, and as always, go Lions!